Millennials of Reddit, what will be our boomer moments as we reach our 60s and beyond? Upvoted for your optimism that millennials will reach their 60s. Yeah, something methane in the thawing permafrost vacuum, you psychopath boomers. No daughter of mine will date a asterisk, looks around to make sure the coast is clear and whispers, asterisk a robot. Fucking degenerate. I don't want a zeta reticulum anywhere near this house, and that's final. Kids these days don't know what it's like to grow up without being able to arbitrarily and precisely rearrange atoms. Back when we were kids, we had to physically move our bodies in order to make food. Our kids will make fun of our lesioned brains because we popped Molly we bought from a dude named Dre at Skrillex concerts back before phones had built drug testing capabilities. In fact, they probably won't even let us lecture them on the dangers of drug use, since we were crazy enough to take drugs back before your iPhone could do a full GCMS report on any sample you inserted. When kids read about the fentanyl epidemic, they will ask their teacher, why didn't they just test their drugs with their smartphone, and the teacher will explain that early smartphones were good for little more than sending nudes and listening to podcasts. Don't snitch on Dre, he's my guy too. WTFR, boomer moments. The CD won't go into the USB port. Most young people would define themselves as being progressive, forward-thinking, and inclusive. In the future, those same young people will likely be labeled as something else. We'd all like to think that our opinions and perspectives are well-informed and accurate. But we're still products of our time. All of us are influenced by the information that's available to us, and we don't always make the best efforts at understanding that information either. Let me give you a possibly controversial example. Recent years have seen a significant uptick in cultural acceptance of transgenderism. We understand that it has a neurological cause, rather than a psychological one. Sufferers quite literally have configurations of neurons in their heads which don't match with their bodies. Unfortunately, there's no good way of examining those configurations without performing autopsies. So we typically take a person's word for it when they say that they're a woman in a man's body, or vice versa. In fact, it's almost universally considered rude or bigoted to question themes here. Medical science has a tendency to advance, though, and chances are that we'll be able to diagnose transgenderism on a physical level before too long. As such, doctors in the future might very well be able to say things like, well, I understand that you feel uncomfortable in your own skin, but your brain nonetheless matches your sex. At the moment, that would be an unthinkable statement. But as years pass, it might become more and more common. Or if they developed a way to make your brain match your birth sex, that's gonna be an awkward moment. Our kids and their spawn are going to cringe when we eat all over the place. When we eat them all over the place. The moment that our kids will refuse to get tattoos or visible piercings since they won't be cool, because so many of their millennial parents have themes here. Kids these days can't sit down and listen to a good 3 hours podcast. The way things are going, millennials won't make it because of the boomers. Our grandkids will give us shit for thinking we are gonna die. I'm no boomer. I'm Gen X, the forgotten generation. But a lot of the problems we're experiencing now and will do in the near future are actually millennials. From Mark Zuckerberg to Kim Jong-un and the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia, there are a lot of shitty millennials out there too. We need to stop blaming people based on this strange generational groupings and start looking at everyone as one, and then identifying those who are going good and those who are doing bad and deal with it from there. Asterisk anything that's invented between when you're 15 and 35 is new and exciting and revolutionary, and you can probably get a career in it. 3. Anything invented after you're 35 is against the natural order of things. Asterisk. By this logic, they should come up with a proper IA in the 2020s. Otherwise, the 2030s will be full of Facebook-like anti-IA memes. Back in my day, we had to request a ride through the old smartphone and got into a stranger's car and had to make small talk with them. Here, a lot of us won't have them because we are actually open to change and growth. IDK though, if we do have them, they probably won't be as hard to deal with. That is an age thing, not a generation thing. Karen. Given that the free love peace-loving Woodstock generation morphed into intolerant authoritarian populists we see the world over, I would say that the even more progressive millennials will somehow morph into even more extreme authoritarian populism that will make the current swing to the authoritarian right seem tame. Yeah, something methane in the thawing permafrost vacuum, you psychopath boomers. Fucking degenerate. I don't want a zeta reticulum anywhere near this house, and that's final. Don't snitch on Dre, he's my guy too. The CD won't go into the USB port. Or if they developed a way to make your brain match your birth sex, that's gonna be an awkward moment when we yeet them all over the place. Our grandkids will give us shit for thinking we are gonna die. I'm no boomer. I'm Gen X, the forgotten generation. But a lot of the problems we're experiencing now and will do in the near future are actually millennials. From Mark Zuckerberg to Kim Jong-un and the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia, there are a lot of shitty millennials out there too. We need to stop blaming people based on this strange generational groupings and start looking at everyone as one, and then identifying those who are going good and those who are doing bad and deal with it from there.
That's it!